Chilo Wanatonadol Tonyel DJ Dingarang Jagdalo Diana Paping Adina Majak Jideng Makwaga Oton Parat Ye Maduni Gaya Pudim Pandania Aye Tony Tuol Putunga Tony Adina Majak Anyar Kubuan by Illicit Sukula Kapi, a young chico, Mammy Majak, I bring a kilo. I didn't Majak, Chideng Makwaga or Tony Parat, Ye Mother Wounded Gaya Pudim Pandemia. I Tony Twelve Putunga Tony, Madina Majak, Anyar Kubuan by Illicit Sukula Kapi. Young chico, Mammy Majak, I bring a kilo. I didn't Majak, Chideng Makwaga or Tony Parat, Ye Mother Wounded Gaya Pudim Pandemia. I Tony Twelve Putunga Tony, Madina Majak, and Yarku going by Illicit Sukula Kapi, a young chico, Mammy Majak, I bring a kilo. In the other than Paniri, you know. I yoramato, I'm not in Majak, Mati, Injina Tokutia, Injio. I yorajima, Manajula, Joe Direct. In I keep loving you, don't juggle, I need Pino. And by Yanina Gajalia, Paniri, I am a TV garden, I don't know, Mark, in a cheap quality, I am in my yard. Good thing in yellow body, Unda.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show. My name is Abraham Madit Majak, and also I have one of my co-hosts in Clubhouse, Nyar. He's one of the political analysts in Lake Media and South Sudan Media. So it's good to have him with me today. Today we having, it's been a while, so I haven't come to open Madit Majak talk show, but today we come up because there's a lot of things we need to cover. I hope you guys give me a thumb up if I'm clear in YouTube and Facebook. So we will be covered. There's a lot of news happening in South Sudan, as we know. The removal of Dr. Benjamin Bolmel, and also today, yesterday, we have seen another degree came out, the reappointment of Vice President, the former Vice President, and Dr. Waniga. Now he is he went back, he reappointed again to go back to his old position. So before we go all of that, today we have seen the ceremony, the reception of the SPLM General Secretary and also the second deputy SPLM, Dr. Waniga. The swearing in ceremony was held today in Juba. We have Lake Media have a video clip that one of our journalists went there and covered that event. So I will play this clip before we go to our discussion. Before I did that, let me give the chance to Moranya to greet people before I play the video. Welcome.
Thank you, Abraham Majak. My heartfelt pleasure to participate with you in today's show on the side of Clubhouse. I greet you, brother, and I greet the audience of the South Sudan Eagle Media in a Clubhouse, in Facebook, greet all of you, as well as in YouTube. I also greet the audience who will later on tune in and listen to our recordings. I welcome and I greet all of you. My heartfelt pleasure to participate with you in today's episode under Can Recycling the Leaders Bring Tangible Changes in South Sudan? A great topic indeed. We shouldn't be surprised about it as people. We definitely have seen the changes in our country, but the latest change is a change that we as citizens ought to sit together, think about it, and then analyze and expect what in our country. It's a great topic. I hope a lot of South Sudanese, especially in the club outside, will tune in to come and share their thoughts with regard to this. Because when there is a reshuffle in the country, we have to have expectations. Otherwise, what would the changes mean if there are no results to be expected? Thank you very much, Madit Majak. Back to you.
Thank you, Walmoranyani. Absolutely, yeah. So we will. This is the topic of today. So that the topic is on the screen. So that will aware our discussion based on. And before we go to our topic, so let me play this video for today. Ceremony in Juba when they do at SPLM celebrate and ceremony to swearing in the new Secretary General, Dr. Honorable Paul. Akol Paul, so Akol Coded, and also the deputy chairman of SPLM, Comrade Wani Iga. So listen to this video, and then we will dive to our notes. Okay, so then you have it. So that is a celebration of today of swearing in ceremony of Akol Kodit has a new General Secretary of SPLM. So now, before we go to others, let's go back to our topic regarding about, and then we will touch basing about the new election. So before we do that, let's go back about what took place on the 12th of December about the removal of Dr. Benjamin Bolmel from Vice President. So he was, Benjamin Bolmel was relieved from his position as a Vice President of the Republic of South Sudan, and also he was dismissed as a past deputy chairman of SPLM party, and also he was demoted as a general and within SSPDF and also within South Sudan Security National Service, and he demoted and two private citizens. And from those, so what the question? This was very shocking. A lot of people were shocking about this move. How Dr. Benjamin Bolmel was removed from this, because not just removed from as a vice president, he was demoted from SSPDF, and also he was demoted from national security services to a private citizen like Madit. Okay, this is a very shocking, but I'm not shocked though. I'm not shocked, because what I'm shocking about is how the mood, how the people of citizens of South Sudan come out in on the street on that day celebrating for the removal of Dr. Bolmel. That was shocking me. That was shocking me. I don't know why people came out and celebrate the removal of Dr. Bolmel, and he's not even in the office for that long. I think if I can recall, he was appointed on February this year. So to the vice president position. And also, people were wondering when he was moved very fast. He was given the ranking in the SSPDF and security services, and also he moved to be a deputy chairman of SPLM party, and also first into the vice president position. People were wondering what's going on. People were saying, oh, well, President Salva Kiir Mayardit is about, people were looking, Dr. Benjamin Bolmel has excesses of President Salva Kiir. He will be the next, will take over. That's what has been a talking point the South Sudanese have in their mind, with the government position or opposition. Everybody was saying that President Salva Kiir is passed away of Dr. Benjamin Bolmel to be the next president. Okay? But when things turn down south on the top, people were surprised. What happened here? And this is what we aid the government, South Sudan government, do not keep the citizen of South Sudan in the dark. If there is something really serious happening on that day, on the 12th of this month, if something Dr. Benjamin Bolmel did, whether he want to be a coup or something, we don't know. This assumption, we are assuming what happened. What did Dr. Benjamin Bolmel did that make President Salva Kiir so upset to remove him from the deputy chairman of SPLM, from the vice president position, and also trip his ranking to the private citizen? What happened here? So this is the question the citizen like us, like me, like Welmore Anyak, asking the President Salva Kiir, what happened? What's going on? Tell us what happened. And the office of President Salva Kiir need to come out and release what happened. So people should know, people of South Sudan should know what happened. Every time President Salva Kiir make a degree people out, degree people in, people don't know what that person did, why this person get fired. So like the fire of Dr. Benjamin Bolmel is not just, is a shocking, because nobody that was fired the way that Dr. Benjamin Bolmel has been removed from the position. This is a shocking, and we aid the president and the government to fill people of South Sudan in, to let people know what happened, what Benjamin Bolmel did, make this decision, President remove him from the power position. So, and that's the downfall. How we and other people, this is the rising of Dr. Benjamin Bolmel from the power and downfall. So this is and secondly too, Welbor Anyar is in here. He's one of the JAMR Red Army, and also the JAMR Red Army were hoping, and this is when we hear the speech President Salva Kiir when they were swearing in the former deputy of SPLM, Dr. Benjamin Bolmel. In the office, said that, okay, we are bringing in the young generation to take the power over. So we, the elders, and this is what is including, so we, the people like President Salva Kiir, John Kwalmanyang, and Vice President Dr. Waniga, and also General, those four people, General, what is named the other one, four. So they were supposed, okay, they said that, okay, this is our time to step back, let the new generation coming in. And the new generation was represented by Dr. Benjamin Bolmel. and he was like a face of the Red Army. Okay, but thing turned around. What happened? So this is the question we are asking. Uh, if there is any reason, President Salva Kiir should and the government should let the people of South Sudan know what did Dr. Bonmel did to deserve that emotion from the government. This is really serious. And other than that, before I move in, what do you think about that? Do you want to weigh in?
Yes, Madit, thank you very much. Yes, exactly. You know, when you work in the government, you are a public servant. You are there to serve the people. Once you are uh, paralleled or fired
Thank you, my dear. Yes, when I could.
from the
Thank you.
public service
I forgot the
by
word general
the
when I could.
appointing
Thank you, my dear.
authority, public that you are supposed to serve deserve a right to know what went wrong. Why is this public servant removed or fired? That's a normal way things are done. But in our country, that has not been the case. We have seen a lot of public servants dismissed from their jobs, and we as the public never known what went wrong, why that particular public servant dismissed. Abraham, if you count the reshuffling that had happened this year with regards to the top government officials, we are now standing at 41st, 41 top at ministerial level, 41 reshuffling in this year alone. And none of those reshufflings had ever been explained to the public. We have never been told why all of these people are moved around, dismissed, and so on. We never known that. If a public servant is fired, that means the appointing authority might have a very good reason for firing that individual. Perhaps might have not been meeting the public expectation or not carrying out his duty diligently. Then in this regard, the appointing authority have every right to dismiss that individual because we as the public hold him accountable for selection of good public servants to us, with the people. If the appointing authority brings in an individual who fails to carry out his duties, he reserves a right to dismiss that individual. However, we the people who were expected to be served by that particular public servant deserve a right to know what happened too. When you look at this year alone, we stand now on 41 top government officials dismissed. That's where we stand at now. And all of these people have been dismissed without explanation. And by these 41 here, I'm talking about the national level. I'm not talking about the governors that get removed here and there. I'm not talking about the commissioners that get removed here and there. No, I'm just talking about at the national level and ministerial level. That is a bit concerning. It shouldn't be like that. But it is what it is. It had happened. Because one situation like that happened, you know what you're giving us as people? Because every single person that occupies a top government position, such as vice president, he doesn't get there without supporters. He does have supporters. He does have people who support him. And when you just decide to dismiss him without explanation, it creates a vacuum for a propaganda to be filled into. It creates a vacuum. You literally are giving the public a blank check to fill in whatever the amount they want. The way Comrade Bolmel was dismissed, his supporters now can explain it in different ways. They can fill in anything in the blank to be the reason why Bolmel was dismissed. And that sometimes is translated in a very bad way that makes people collide against one another. That's really not good. To be a leader, you don't just physically stand before all of us, but you somehow give us guidance in national affairs. And one of those guidance is when decisions like these are made, at minimum, tell us why certain individuals in some positions are dismissed from those positions. But if people are dismissed, and then we, the public, are left to guess, everything we guess, we don't guess it correctly all the time. We may guess it wrong, we may guess it right. The probability of guessing things right is almost 1%, but we are likely to be wrong by 99%. In my opinion, the appointing authority need to reconsider the way they do the reshuffling in the country sometimes. That is with regard to dismissal of Bolmel. Of course, we don't know. We don't know what did he do wrong. We don't know what did he really do wrong, or what kind of mistake. Because when you look at the guy, he got dismissed from 3 positions.
Mm-hmm.
He got dismissed as a vice president. Yeah. Then he got dismissed as the deputy chairman of the SPLM. And then he got demoted in our military. Okay. Out of these 3 institutions, did he make one mistake that is equal in size? Let's assume that he might have made a mistake as a vice president. Is the mistake he made as a vice president of the Republic of South Sudan similar to the mistake he made in the SPLM as a deputy chair? And also the same mistake he might have made as a deputy chair of the SPLM. Is that the same mistake he also made in our military to have him demoted? You be the judge. You know, how can one person make a mistake that qualify him to be dismissed from all of the 3 positions? What sense does that make? In my opinion, I don't think it makes any sense at all. I was expecting him at least how can you join the SPLA liberation struggle as maybe I don't know what time when he stated he has been a Red Army of Independence. That means he might have gone to the SPLA in 1985-86. So how can you be in the army since 1986 and until 2025 you don't even qualify as at least that seniority. You know, so you can tell there whatever he might have made might have been very, very bad.
Mm-hmm.
That would from the appointing authority to go to that extreme end. That was very wrong.
And the only thing I see, one more, I think the only thing we can see is about probably there's a coup. That's the only activity that if he commit like a want to overthrow the government, maybe that's one of the reasons he can be stripped from the power. And this can show too it will be a second man in the country that stripped from the demotion from SSP from the SSPDF. Do you remember when General Stephen Boy-Rolnyang?
Yeah, Stephen Boy-Rolnyang. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I remember. Yes.
So now he's the second man now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I do remember. I do remember when General Stephen Boy-Rolnyang was stripped of his military rank. I do. I remember that. But at least he had only one position as a general in our military. He wasn't a minister or anything.
Right.
But what had happened to Bolmel was a little bit extreme. There got to be a very good reason that prompted the appointing authority to deprive him of all the ranks, including the military rank. That was a little bit, and also too, when you look at President Kiir, that is out of character. Out of 41 senior government officials who had been dismissed from their position, nobody had been stripped like Bolmel. So that tells us there must have been something serious that he might have done wrong. And also too, that's us looking into the government. But what about us as people? Our general observation. You in the room here, or in the Facebook, or in YouTube live now. Did Bolmel really meet our expectations? Did he meet our expectations? Or was he on a right course to meeting our expectations as well? If you were to be appointing authority, would you have let him continue? Remember, Comrade Madit, back in February, when he was appointed, we congregated in this room. And nearly 9 out of 10 members of the Red Army welcomed the decision. We thought that our senior comrades were finally fulfilling their dream. And I hope you can recall what I said in this room. To Comrade Bolmel, I advised him that, look, use this position to be a cleansing agent. Use this position to be a detergent of your records and to be a foundation for the restoration of the hope within the fraternity of the Red Army. And what I had wanted him to do is to let go of the grudges. If there were some people out there that he might have elbowed or had some issues with them or some bones to pick, bro, you're going to be a vice president of the republic. You got it there. You are there at the top. Pick no fight with nobody. And had there been anyone you had issues with, reach out to him, resettle, resolve, and move along. And I also suggested, Comrade Bolmel, the position that was given to him was not easy. As a matter of fact, that is the position that really means to us. It means to be in charge. It meant being in charge of 11 ministries. And these 11 ministries are very technical. These 11 ministries involve, of course, the Minister of Finance, the Petroleum, the Water and Irrigation and Fisheries, the Tourism, the Animal Resource, Road, Bridges and Transportation. All of this, very technical ministries. To really provide good results as a man in charge of economic clusters, you need to establish a research team. Because as a leader, you lead by making decisions. Well, can you make a decision over what you don't know? You got to know something in order to decide. Well, how would you know something? You are only one Bolmel given a responsibility of 11 ministries plus your position as a vice president as well. And a deputy chairman of the SPLM. Imam Modo General PJ, I'm not even going to say something about it because it looked like Comrade Paul now was doing a good job there. So his military position was not really needed to have somebody in it. But the position of the vice presidency and the 11 ministries are a lot of work. So to tackle this, he needed very bright team. Even if you were to establish the committees to handle these different ministries, and then he get the report. And to do that, if he had his own research committee that go around to harvest the talented Junubin, to look around, very intelligent Junubin, even including those whom he might have deemed as his enemies, so long as they were smart and clever, he should have reached out to them, bring them into this group, and address the economic cluster challenges. Kidede, he would have actually mined, he would have harvested very good ideas, and then he can make a decision based on those good ideas, and it would have made him an effective leader. That was my advice to him. Had it happened? No, it hadn't happened. It looks like as soon as he got this position, it looks like Comrade Paul Mill created more enemies than friends. And you can see how he was criticized in social media. Second to that, if he had combined the humility, such as what is being done now by Comrade Ruth Salpa, where we see her humbling herself, we're seeing her visiting elderly statements, such as those of Uncle Bona Malwal, his soul rest in peace, and those of Uncle Joseph Lago and Uncle Abiliardi. Yeah, that's humility. Would have made the public see him as being a humble guy who want to come close to us. And that move would have given us a hope that once he gets closer to us, he will see what we're going through. And once he knows what we're going through, maybe he can be our savior. He can come up with a salvation. That would have developed a hope in the public. Last thing that I said when he was appointed as the vice president is that resume the activities of Interbarkazal Highway, even if it meant him spending his own money from within his own pocket. But he got to get something going. Once we see him active at work, we, the public, can say, you know what, give him more time. One more day, one more week, one more month. Maybe he will add 5 kilometers, 2 kilometers, 10 kilometers. Had we seen him busy at work, we would have said our vice president is there, he is at work. But have any one of us seen the resumption of the activities of the Interbarkazal Highway Road? We haven't. So now, we began to ask ourselves, without this here, then what is the difference between Bolmel and Wani? Yes, Wani was there, and he wasn't doing what I was saying. But that's exactly why we had a hope that when the new face show up in the vice presidency, then new things get to be done. But if we see a new face, and the new face is as dormant as the old one, then what is the necessity of the change? So these are real observations that kind of like made some of us became very hopeless in all of this, Comrade Madit. Are these the reason why President Kiir might have dismissed him? I don't think so. How do I know? Because even Comrade Waniga wasn't doing all of this anyway. So what I have just said here are my own personal observations, but I don't think it was dismissed because of his failure to do exactly what I have just said. But I suggested it this way because I wanted him to sell himself to the people. I wanted him to develop a sense of hope within the South Sudanese public. Even if he were to be dismissed, people would have not gone to the streets and celebrate. Because imagine this, if the road to Barkazal was resumed, the construction was resumed, and then he gets fired, and somebody comes to Juba and slaughter Lamb to celebrate his dismissal. The people who come from Barkazal to Juba, people who saw the changes on the road, people who saw the activities of the road construction would have disagreed with those who were celebrating his dismissal in Juba. But all of this he has not done. So I think too, Comrade Bolmel made himself a sitting duck politically, and he made himself really vulnerable with that regard, Comrade Madit. Are these reason enough to have him dismissed? I don't think so, because he's not the only one who failed to perform this. There's a lot of people who have failed to perform this, and some continue to be promoted. Now, that would take us to the topic. I like the word you put there in the topic, the word recycle.
Yeah, before we go to that topic before we move to that topic, let's move away from before we move to that, let us address the situation. When Dr. Bolmel was removed from the position, we have seen outcry in social media, we have seen supporters of Bolmel and non-supporter of Bolmel. There is ongoing disagreement between these two groups in social media. This is a good time to call out. Leg media is here for the peace in the country. So we are calling for calm. So we are calling for the calm. We don't want to see a division among within, because we reduce down to a tribe level. We don't want to see the people of Awil and other side to fight among other. So we need to stay away from, as people has always said, that politics is a dirty game. Okay, it is. So we need to be cautious about what is happening in Juba, and that's why I was calling earlier that President Salva Kiir in his office supposed to come out to tell the people of South Sudan what happened, what did Dr. Bolmel did to deserve this, okay? And we are calling out for the citizen, especially Young Barkazal. We call tamping, we could wake back can back Paul. Chokan to a political want to CSI talk the Louis address these issues. Or I should take door we could to a man quite a bad with Barkazal. From a will, go real, and you name it. Oh, door to Camco in Barkazal, I will be to remain in that. So Bolomel, a key bay, Ranachol, Ben Salpa Kin Mayadi and Beer, Ben Salpa Kin Mayadi and Kebanyai. Okay, so can between Salpa Kin Mayadi and Bolmel and Rambikide go in here Banyai. So when we supporters support party YSLM members supporters as I support, and one of the diehard member. I was born in SPLM, and I grew up. I will grow gray haired in SPLM. I will repeat this, and I will be known in history that in social media how I fighting with the opposition regarding when they attack SPLM. President Salva Kiir, I always are defending. I don't care how you calling me, but SPLM is critical movement, and we have to protect it. So, Kewo Womwanjang, why went special with Barkazal, with our Muslim, or Wiku, door to Camcon. Let us say, social media to think, a lot of people, please tone your literature down. Bolmel, one of the political person, to CSI. This is, I want to join this game of politics. You always experience this, okay? So, Ben Salva Kiir Mayadi, he know what happened, and he's the one in and around the end. So, can you what call calm door camcon? We go back when you put in social media, whether you are using a TikTok, Facebook Live, or Clubhouse and any other mean of media outlet, please hate speech and we go back nyai ku nyai krodikani. So koi win to CSI talk Lucasol could be can be low command and I'm calling out elders of Barkazal, Sultan, could be Kumitako can be solved. Bain Benjamin Salva Kiir and Dr. Benjamin Bolmel, Nanong Cholo could be solved, could be calm, be by among the communities. Jan can be nyai in that way. So kind of the message you send out not quite in one more anyar, and not we add in Kaniki Lotwing before we move to other that.
Yeah. You know, like I said a while ago, Comrade Madit, President Kiir too, he also needs to play a positive role, and he needs to complete his work. If he decides to dismiss somebody from a top position, such as Bolmel is, it is not right for him to just write on the top of a sheet of a paper, "You are dismissed," and then he hand out the papers like that for everyone now then to go and explain why somebody is dismissed. By doing that, some people are going to fill the rest of the sheet with the wrong reasons. And those wrong reasons are what triggered what we are witnessing now in social media and how our people are divided up and how the communities now are polarized. To me, if President Kiir wrote on the top of the sheet of paper, "Bolmel, you are dismissed," and fill the rest of the page with the reason of his dismissal, it would have left us no room for us to fill in the blank. But out of people that had always been dismissed in our government, it is only a dismissal statement that is written on the top of the sheet of the paper, and the rest of the page is left blank to be filled out by the citizens. And that is wrong. It has been going on all these years, but this needs to be reconsidered. It's so polarizing because nobody makes it to the top of the leadership, especially the position of the vice presidency, without having supporters. Even President Kiir now, he does have supporters. Comrade Waniga has supporters. All of these leaders in the top position, especially in the presidency, they do have supporters. And their supporters deserve some sort of explanation in the event of dismissal of one of those top leaders here. It has not been done, and leadership needs to reconsider that. It's very dangerous for existence of our country. It kills what we cherish in our national anthem, the harmony. Part of our national anthem says peace and harmony. Where would the harmony come between the citizens if we are polarized the way we have seen in social media and the way we are talking ill against one another, the way we are attacking our communities? Is that a harmony? Is that a harmony we pray for in our national anthem? I don't think so. But it can be a harmony if communities are abusing one another and prominent figures within the communities are being bullied. That is very corrosive to the peace and harmony in our country. I also want to add and remind our people that politics is not an art of unification. Politics is not an art of a unification. Politics are not events that unite the public. Politics explore our opinions. And as humans, we cannot have one opinion all the time. And so, political matters, we need to approach them with that expectation that politics divides our opinion. And our division of opinion on the political issues should not be translated to be a division of society. And the way things are trending in social media, we are on the path of a social division. That's not good. Very dangerous, especially in light of the silence of the authorities which make decisions and never explain why they decide that. Very dangerous for us as Junubin. Who are we to resolve anything? We're just only social media activists who can come here and try to give out these advices. Our unity is a function of our existence as a nation. If we let the politics destroy our unity, it is a threat to our existence as a nation. Think about this. The current tension within the region of Barkazal, especially between Warab and northern Barkazal, or particularly between Gogrial and Awil, and from within Awil itself, and from within Warab itself. If this temperature doesn't go down, but continue to rise, it can burst into something we're not ready for. And that's not good. For that reason, it's really good thing we take advantage of a show like this to advise our people to tone it down and to let them know that in politics, there is no permanent loser, by the way. There is no permanent loser in politics and there is no permanent winner. If there were to be permanent losers, Comrade Waniga would have not been a vice president now. Or when he's dismissed, we might have thought that that was the end of his political career. So here we are. It's back again. And so that should be something to look and be hopeful. Even if you are a member or a supporter of Bolmel, you can't just say that he's out of the game yet. You never know, he can come back. Because we have seen even the folks who were dismissed are back now into the power. So in politics, there is no permanent loser. And for that reason, we shouldn't take political loss to heart. And we shouldn't use political loss to break down our social fabric. Very wrong. So I add my voice onto what you said, Comrade Madit. Now, take the mic, Comrade Madit.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Recycling.
Yeah, now let's go back.
What's your take on this, man?
Yeah, it's really. So now let's go to our next topic regarding about recycling of the leaders. This is a real, because we have seen a degree yesterday. President, here as a summary of the degree yesterday. Yesterday, President Salva Kiir appointed Dr. James Wani Iga as a second vice president, and also has a past deputy chairman of SPLM, which is a replacement of Dr. Benjamin Bolmel. And he also removed Michael McQueen-West from Ministry of Information, and he removed, let me read those. He removed from, he dismissed Michael McQueen-West from Ministry of Information. Also, he removed Joseph Gang Akech, Ministry of Justice, and also he removed Simon Majak, Ministry of Road and Bridge, and also he removed Serpina Napania, Ministry of Environment, and also he removed Ribaba Majak Emmanuel, Governor of Central Equatoria State. So here are the new appointment. Okay, the new appointment, he appointed Peter Lamboth as a Ministry of Roads and Bridge. And also he appointed Michael Mkululwe as the Minister of Justice. And also here is my good buddy, the one I like in social media, Tanyuega Tany, as the Minister of Information. Wow, he would be good at that position because he was like him and Michael Mkululwe in 2013. They were two people I know in the government served a long term in the government. So he appointed Atanyuwek Atany as the Minister of Information, take up a replacement of Michael Mkululwe. They switched the position. So Michael Mkululwe switched the position. He moved Michael Mkululwe to Minister of Justice, and then he gave that position of Minister of Information to Atanyuwek Atany. And also he appointed, okay, here another one. He appointed Mabor Garang Damabior and the Minister of Environment, the son of late Dr. The leader, Dr. Garang Damabior, the son. And also he appointed Emmanuel Adel as the governor of Central Victoria. And then number 6, he appointed Ambassador Achol Abelagwek as ambassador and as an envoy to Middle East. So these are a degree yesterday. So now, these spaces for the new appointees yesterday are the same government. So now, Moranya, now we go back, the government go back to square one. Okay? So they went back to square one, is the same world. Remember when people were talking about, okay, when President bring in Dr. Benjamin Bolmel into the position, so people were thinking that, okay, so they are moving away. So they are moving away from the old one and then bring the new one in. But now we go back. So, and people were talking about the seniority within SPLM party, because when President bring Dr. Pullman, people were against it, said that, okay, President has broken the system, SPLM system for seniority, because suppose seniority of SPLM have to remain what it is in the party. So when he bring the house, like it's not outside, Dr. Pullman is not outside, he's one of the Yammer, and he was there, but he's not. He's far away from the leaders, like from Dr. James Wani, Awana Kot, and Kuala Manyang, those big four. So they are the one. So he's still far away from it, from that junior to the first. So that's why people were not happy with it. So, so what do you see about that, Moranya, about this recycling of the same faces? Is it how President Key doing this? Is it how you recycling, remove and bring the same faces back into the government? What different? These are the questions that what different will they bring again? They're the same way that why they didn't do it in the first place when they were in the same in the government. What are they will doing now differently? So you're recycling it. That's not change here. So President always said that he's looking for a solution. How can you make a looking for a solution same faces, same recycling, same faces once every while, every couple of weeks, every couple of months, 3 months, 6 months, okay? And there's no change. So I see there's no change on this. When you recycle the same leaders in the same position, it will not bring any change that I see. So what do you think about that, Moranya?
Okay, thank you, Comrade Madit, and welcome everybody to South Sudan Eagle Media. Welcome all of you, and I greet all of you. First of all, let me even acknowledge the evidence of the recycling with regards to the latest reshuffling in our country. And let me agree with you that indeed it was a recycling. But what are the evidence of the recycling here? When you look at the new the names now, I think the only new face in a new position, though he may not be new in the political arena, is Comrade Paul Kurdit. It's the first time for him to be appointed as a Secretary General of the ruling party, SPLM. But the other names and faces are people who had held different government positions before. This topic, Madit, is very complicated because the topic here is going to talk about three things. It's going to talk about the SPLM, okay, the new reshuffling, what change do we expect within the SPLM? And then within the government of South Sudan, what change do we expect? And we'll try to really think about what the intentions of President Kiir are. Very hot topic. So, with regards to the recycling, it is true there had been recycling. Out of the newly appointed leaders from within the SPLM to the government, the only person that is in a new position is the Kolpol corridor, as I say. So then, let's talk about a Kolpol corridor there. What change will he bring? What tangible change will he bring? Kolpol, as an individual, is a very capable guy. He's highly educated. Joined the SPLM in 1994 when many of the folks in the room here might have not been born. He's a vocalist. He's a guy that can speak. He knows the history. He's not afraid of media. No question is hard for him to answer. He had been dispatched to head committees here and there. I think he was the secretary of the SPLM-IG to the Arusha Declaration in Tanzania. So politically, he's well rounded up. He was also, I'm not trying to belittle him, but he was a member of John Garang's political kindergarten. I would call him because he was junior. In the presence of those of Uncle Walding Wall and Peter Nyotkog and those of Waniga, Daniel Wenakod and Paul Manyang, what would you, if you call those political classroom of Dr. John, that would put a Paul Corrid in the kindergarten of John Garang Political Academy. So the guy is exposed. He was there. He was close to Dr. John. He does have abilities to manage the SPLM. That is if and if only he is allowed to carry out his duties as written in the SPLM text. He can do a good job. He can restore the motivation within the SPLM. He can lay a foundation for the convention within the SPLM. He can revive the SPLM. He can do that if he's given a freedom to do so. He was here in America. I think he did his PhD in New York. He's exposed to the Western democratic ideals as well. So he has all kind of qualifications. But my fear is that in our country, sometimes we become victims of our own success. The more you are perceived to achieve, the more it becomes even a threat to your own position. That is my worry. But the guy is well rounded up, is capable of actually bringing tangible changes within the SPLM. Now, let's come to the government side. What tangible changes do we expect? Even though these individuals are recycled in the current reshuffle, but at least the only man that has come back to the position he had before is Comrade Waniga. Is a man who have come back to the and maybe Governor Adil. But I'm talking at the top leadership here. So in the latest dismissal and appointment, 3 individuals came back to the positions they had before. That's Comrade Waniga. He came back to the exact position he was at within the SLM as a party and within the government of South Sudan. So what is going to be new now? Another person that came in to his old position is the governor of Central Equatoria, Comrade Emmanuel Adu. So what is going to be new now? Same position he had before. Another person that came back into the old position he had before is Saeed Shaul. He was IGP of police, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And he's brought back into the same position again. Let me start from Saeed. Shaul, I don't even understand what was the reason in the first place to even have him removed. Because Shaul is a professional police officer. That's all he did in his life. He went to his school to be a police. He got trained to be a police. I don't know why he was dismissed in 9 months in the first place when we need a transformation in our police force. What was even the reason in the first place to remove him and replace him with a former guerrilla warrior? What was the logic behind that? So the IGP of the police, even though he's back into the same position he had, I have a faith in this guy because I know his work. He's a well-trained police officer. Madit, people want to come up. Can you open the hand raise? Let people come up.
Oh, okay, let me open the hand raise here.
Yeah. So I have a faith in Saeed Shaul. If he's given enough time and resources, he can transform our police force. When you look at the way things are in the country now, you see how every now and then you run into a video where you would see a citizen wrestling with the police officer. That's really not professional. Every now and then you will run into a video where you would see police officers who are drunk and misbehaving in the public. That's very unprofessional. I hope Shaul would be given enough time to transform our police force in our country. So I have a faith in that guy. Now, let's look at the other guys here in the different positions. Even though they were former ministers, but they are now appointed into different positions. For example, our homeboy, Atanyuek. Okay? Atanyuek, I have a hope that he will be really effective.
Yeah, definitely.
In the Ministry of Postal Service and Telecommunications. Number one, he's oralist, he can speak. He's been exposed to the media. He's not afraid to confront the media. He's a journalist. So if, as a journalist as he is, cannot keep the public informed, who will inform the people of South Sudan? So I have a faith that Atanyuek will be very, very effective in the current ministry. He is appointed into it. What about the top dog? And by top dog in our Western lingo here, being called a dog doesn't mean being a dog in African terms. But in our terms here, it means being a tough guy. Our top dog, Michael McQuinley, here. And of course, he went to school for law.
Yes.
Right? He graduated in law. He studied law.
Morwala Yara, you make me laugh. It's top dog. It's top dog, really.
And now he's appointed to head the Ministry of Justice. Now, even if he doesn't perform and we don't see the results in this ministry here, we will ask him for what reason did his parents spend money on his school fees to have him go on and study the law if we don't see a transformation within this ministry. So it's the right man in the right position this time when it comes to Comrade Webb and Comrade Michael McConaughey. Very, very, very good position that they have acquired now. I think Michael McConaughey had it before. He was appointed in that position. And the way I saw his work, he was even ready to take the corruption head on. But we, Genevieve, ended up frustrating him. I hope he will be in this ministry with the same resolve. Then he will be a very, very effective minister in the Ministry of Justice, and we should be able to see the tangible results in our country, Comrade Madit. Even though they are recycled, but they are recycles of individuals being put in right positions. I kind of like it. I have a hope in that. Now, to conclude, why is Salva Kiir doing this? What is he trying to do? In my opinion, from the perspective of the SPLM, maybe, I'm just saying maybe, let nobody quote me on this. Maybe he's trying to reset the buttons within the SPLM by appointing Comrade Akolokor. Akolokor, having been the secretary for the Arusha Declaration, that means he's a hard drive of the Arusha Declaration, which I think maybe President Kiir is trying to revive that, to truly reunify the SPLM. If that is his intention,
interesting,
then a call Paul Corrier can be very, very effective. I see that. Now there are other two ministries here that I did not touch. The environmental with the Mabior Garam. Mabior Garam too is not a new face in the ministerial post. He had it before. He quit, left, go and grow tomatoes, and now he come back and he's giving the Ministry of Environmental. Will he deliver? I don't know, even though there is too much work that is needed to be done in that ministry. But I don't know if Mabior.
And I have a question with that. I have a question with that. One more about Mbor Garam. You know, his mother is one of the vice president. Okay, and they bring him in as one of the Ministry of Environment. My question is: this government is a permanent government? I'm sorry, I need to say this because we have seen that the people in the power, they are bringing their own children in the government. How do you feel that those orphans like me, like you, Walaborajar, why is it? And that's PLM is a party for Bidabar, the orphan. But now they're bringing their own, their own children in the government. You cannot imagine you bring like a vice president, Mama Nyandeng, she's a vice president, and then bring her son again to be one of the ministers. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it can be seen that way, but from the legal point of it, that it is not a violation of any law in our country or any constitution, because we don't have any article, whether within the SPLM as a party or a constitution of South Sudan that says thou shalt not work in the same government with your children or your spouse. It's not illegal technically. But given the nature of things here, it also looks absurd to see our leaders handpicking their own relatives into the government positions as such. Because it makes it sound like they're building a dynasty. And that is really going to hurt the feeling of many people, and it's not going to look good on SPLM as a ruling party if we were to go for a real democratic election. The public are going to remember this. Now, let me actually touch little bit about our guy, the former Secretary General of the SPLM, Lambo, appointed as the Minister for Road
and Bridges
and Transportation.
Is that was the position Lm-Ssem was having, or what?
That was what Lm-Ssem had.
Oh, okay.
No, was it Lm-Ssem? No. Yeah, it was Lam.
It was Lam, right?
Lam. Yes. It was Lam. It was Ger Chung. I remember when I met Ger Chung in Washington, D.C.
Now, the reason reshuffle is it seems like Simon Majak. Majak, I think, is from Padang.
Yes, Majak, yeah.
Yeah, Majak, Majak.
What you call him? Ger Chung.
I think Lem was transport. Lem was the Minister of Transport, but Majak was the Minister of Bridges and something. Yeah.
Bridges. Oh yeah, because different.
Yeah, Majak. Yeah. I think hold this position for long. Yeah, for a long time.
And why? What is the difference? Why the ministries of transport and Ministry of Bridge? This is something. Why they just do it in one ministry? Go ahead.
Yeah. What you call him? Gary Sang used to jokingly say that he used to call himself a minister of one bridge and no road in South Sudan. So now my comrade Lombok is now the new minister of two bridges and no road in South Sudan. This joke can tell challenges my comrade Lombok will face in that ministry. And if we were really to be a fair nation, where leaders would stand in front of the citizens and explain themselves, Comrade Lombok would find himself in a very tough situation. As it is the philosophy of the SPLM to take town to the villages. Can town go to the villages without roads? Now that the former Secretary General of the SPLM is the one that is actually appointed into this ministry. If he doesn't deliver, then that philosophy of the SPLM will not have a meaning. Because we cannot take town to the villages without roads. And you, as a former
Let me understand there, Walmar, can you understand? Let me understand here. Do we have a road minister apart from the Minister of Bridges? Or it's the same ministry?
It seems like now we have a Ministry of Transportation, Roads and Transportation, and no, we have Ministry of Transportation, and we have Ministry of Roads and Bridges. Yes, they're different now. I even lost counting.
Yeah, and so which means Lambos is going to be in charge of building roads and bridges, right? So how is bridges going to be there and no road? So you will be constructing road, and then when they need a bridge, you're going to put the bridges. Is that not the understanding?
Yeah, that's the way it sounds like now. It's supposed to be in one ministry, because how can we have a minister of transportation and Minister of Transportation and civil aviation? I think that's one thing, and then we have Minister of Road and Bridges. Okay.
By itself, because you can receive maybe things from overseas in different, port of entry, and all. I think it could have a different function, seeing what's coming in and what goes out.
No, they all should be one department. It should be all one department, and one department can different branches. There would be a roads and bridges department, and there would be even different kind of roads too, because we don't have only one road. We have different kind of roads in the country. The roads are not even one. We have interstate, we have county roads, we have city roads, we have interstate roads. Okay, so even roads are not the same, and all of these different roads fall under different bridges, different department and different bridges too. Okay, we even have farm roads. Farm roads are there. Okay, so all of these and not every different kind of roads here should be made a ministry. They should just be made departments within the same ministry here, in order to downsize the government. But our case here is that we want to make the government big. So you can have different kind. one department can be split up to be into multiple ministries in order to accommodate people. Whatever is the case, beside the point. What I'm trying to make here is, how will we be able to stand before the people of South Sudan and say, SLM says, town should be moved to the villages, if roads are not connected to the villages? What will Lambo say if citizens ask him that way? Very tough position. As far as Mabiorgarang is concerned, there is truly a need for effective leadership in that ministry. When you look at the oil pollution in Upper Nile, that is a concern. When you look at the deforestation that is happening, especially in and around Central Equatoria, because of having a capital city as Juba. When you go to the market and you see the amount of charcoal, and I can say 9 out of 10 households in Juba, they use charcoal to prepare their food. 9 out of 10. Where does the charcoal come from? It comes from a tree. There is a tree that gets cut down and get converted into a charcoal, right? And a tree is a part of our environment. So there is a destruction of environment in Central Equatoria. That is a concern. When you go and just look at the Nile, you will not go 1 second without seeing a plastic floating on the face of Nile. Pollution, plastic pollution. That is a concern. It needs effective leadership. When you look in South Sudan now, why do we have too much palm tree? Why do we have too much palm tree growing everywhere now? What does that mean environmentally? That's not a good sign.
That's vegetation, right?
That is the desertification. Because when you look at the palm tree, the leaves of palm tree, they are very smooth. It doesn't lose water that much compared to the other trees that have fluffy leaves. They easily get dehydrated and they lose water. So in order for the soil and environment to have itself covered, it prefers the trees that preserve a lot of, and the trees that lose water easily are dying out. And you, Comrade Madit, you from Yarul, back in the days, there used to be a papyrus vegetation inside Lake Yarul, a date. There used to be a lot of papyrus vegetation in Lake Yarul.
And it's no longer there now.
And it's no longer there now. What happened? Where did it go? Who saw them walk away? Who saw that vegetation walk away? Where did it go? And mind you, this is a lake that doesn't have a current. And this is a lake that used to have a vegetation. How all of a sudden a different generation just came in and the lake got no single grass in the middle of it? And this is a lake that used to be covered with too much vegetation. What happened to this? Back in the days in our time, in Lake Yarul, we used to have a lot of catfish and different kind of fisheries, especially the fish with the smooth skin. It used to be there. If you go now into Lake Yarul,
and Luth too. Luth used to be there.
yes, and a lot of mudfish used to be there. Today, if you go to fish in Lake Yarul, you will find fish with the scales. fish with the scale, tilapia, and the other fish with the scales. I'm not a zoologist. I don't know the name. But you lick in Europe, kujalating, fish with a hard scale on their skin. But the fish with smooth skin are gone in Lake Yarul. What happened? What's going on? That's an environmental concern. This is a ministry given to Mabior Garam.
And also, too, do you remember that flame that crashed into that lake?
In that crash,
It's
not the
still
plane that
there.
crashed in Lake, and the
Yeah, still
bombardment that
there as
happened
we
in
speak.
1989.
Yeah.
Okay? What happened here? And whatever killed the smooth skin fish out of Lake Yarul, is it safe for humans? What happened? This is a concern, and all of these are the challenges under this ministry. Will Mabior Garang address all of this? We will be the judges. Thank you very much, Comrade Madit. We have new people that have just joined us on the stage. So I'll stop here and also give them a chance to hear their thoughts with regards to the topic, the recycling of the leaders.
Yes.
What results do we expect? Thank you. Mike, back to you, Comrade Madit.
Thank you. Well, more Anyar, absolutely. Very good analysis. You're absolutely right. Let us move to Ninja. Ninja, what do you intake on this?
Yeah, thank you, Comrade Madit. My greeting to you. Diwal, my greeting. Dr. Nyol and Ustaz Kolakol, my greeting to you guys. So, Nasal Tahat. The topic says, can recycling the leaders bring tangible changes in South Sudan? It's really a very good question, Comrade Madit. Thank you for that. It's really a great question. And it is up to South Sudanese to come up and discuss it with a lot of pace and critically. It needs critical analysis, this topic here. First of all, when I look at the South Sudan government, or different governments in the world, they always have like three branches: executive, legislature, and judiciary. But if we look now into the government of South Sudan, the only branch which is happening effectively is only executive, which is under the president, state governors, county commissioners, Payama administrators, and Buma administrators. Those are the functioning bodies only in Sudan as we speak. Legislature, they're always being forced, or sometimes when they can even be fired by the executive. The same thing with judiciary for Sudan and legislature. Now look here. According to our constitution, before 2013, whenever you are appointed as a minister or state governor or vice president, you can be taken to the parliament. And it's up to the parliament of South Sudan now to bid, oh, Mr. Wal Moranyar is qualified, to lead this institution, And then it is up to us now to reject you or to let you do whatever you want effectively. But as we speak now, everything is just only appointment by president, and they don't take you to the state parliament. You don't go there, Everything is done just only by the order of president. Then tomorrow they take you, they swear you in, and then you start your duties. So Parliament Zato, my resort Zato. As we speak now, Parliament of Sudan Zato, they even don't sit, no sitting Zato. After a long time, they will just all rush to the Parliament, and then they just sit there to respect you like what they did the other day to Uncle Bonamorang, you know. But mind you, normal, sitting, a lot of discussion, nothing. Why not the president for all?
Our parliament is turning into a funeral home.
That's
the way it sounds.
Yeah. Shifter? That's what. Now come to recycling. These people here, because President Kiir, he doesn't know what Marajarde, what Tornual, what Moibor, what Madit Majak, what Kolakol, what all is coming to his mind? It's just only the people who worked with him before. But that guy, I fire him today. I got 5 months better. Then tomorrow, okay, let me call that person back, you know. And then they give me position again. Like BBC, Bag Barnabas has been given position twice. Tian, I think 3 times. And a lot of ministers, you know. So you just get fired today, and then tomorrow you heard, oh, I'm coming back tomorrow, and then straight away you come back. It's just coming to do nothing. As soon as you are given that position, class, you make sure you come and loot, and then you go. And then because tomorrow you'll be fired anytime. I'm a busy show, yeah. I will come back, ladies and gentlemen. I'll continue by Madit. I'll come back. Thank you.
Thank you, Ninja. Thank you. Akol.
Thank you. Greetings to all of you. Yes, as Ninja just mentioned about it encourages sometimes what you call a lack of responsibility or accountability in all ministries. Recycling of the same ministries, sometimes it can have both. And what I mean is, for instance, like in case of Michael McQuinworth, a man that has never been, reshuffled out in the government, has been in the government since 2005. And the ministry in which he has now assumed responsibility today happened to be in it before. So it seemed to have a kind of background knowledge, as Walmor Anyar clearly articulated, So, and at the same time, it also worked with the Ministry of those kind of information, interacting with the media most of the time. And that is a tough kind of position to be, confronting maybe a lot of anything taking place in the government. You have to be, to be questioned to tell the public of what is really going on in the government. But he has held that for a number of years and seemed to have worked there quite well. So you can see, as Walmor Anyara Luto, that this kind of person seemed to have some kind of a loaded knowledge in which he can be assumed to function in that ministry that he has now been reshuffled to. I tell you what I think too, yes, is a man that speaks very well. We know that. He loved to talk. Only that he has not been, in that position before, though he has been in the office of the president for 9 years. But still, he has also interacted with the dignitaries, diplomats, people from different parts of the world. And it seemed to be the man that also introduced the function of the government at the time. So really, as Walmor Anyara has also said it, we can affirm that he's not going to be shaken. I think he's going to work that ministry very well. Now, what is the reason behind the leadership of doing this, bringing the same paces? To me, what I think is, if you work with the government and then you take a break, like you are now become a normal civilian. Now you become a common man like us, like Atany Work has been. Now you will see what is really going wrong in the government when you are out of it. Now it will give you a sense. If you go back again, what have you heard from the public? And what you see was not a good thing for the government to function that way. Because sometimes when you build a house, even in traditional African setting, a house, if you are the one building that house, you cannot see whether it's tilting somewhere left, south, north, unless somebody has to go back in a distance to look into it and see whether it is now the one directing you say, hey, no, tell it this way or do it, adjust it this way. Until if you are building what you call logging young, then that's where you see look now going straight. But there are people standing in a distance to tell, you see. But those who are building it, they can't see a thing. The same thing apply when you are in the cabinet or when you are in the kitchen. The cooks, it's not you always to tell whether it's nice. It's people that you made that cooks are the one to come and praise you later on that you have really made a delicious food, you see. So for a time, I think it will come with that perspective of being out for a while from the government and has also interacted with the local population, civilian, and as an official before, you might have seen his weaknesses or what he ought to really correct it when he was in. But now it's now called back to service. I think it's going to go with the two sets of mind, a mind of the public expectation, what the public really ought to, given that has been very critical in his free time. Now he's back to the government. He had to answer all the voices that he used to hear, and even he joined even the bandwagon to be even critical of the function of those in the government. And you see the roaring criticism that really unraveled itself in a few weeks ago. So I tell you what, we'll go with a two set of mind, a mind that is going to be better than what he used to be before, or is going to improve what he used to have before. And you also be mindful of the roaring of the public. It is a time of really showing leadership this time. And I think he's going with a different set of code now on him. Shawal, the guy that now has been assigned to police, I think he was in the government before too. But what I can ask from the leadership, which is the leadership of Kirmaya, for him to assign people to a job and then not giving them a duration to see whether there will be a kind of a change. You always assign a person and expect things to happen in a less than 90 days. You can't do that. And he has been in power for a number of years now, and people, we don't see his leadership now. But still, you don't see that. He said the people he assigned are the ones failing. But then give them that time now, at least 1 year or two. I'm not calling for somebody to sit in the job for a number of years like the way those of Minister of Information, and even during the Director of Intelligence or what you call the National Security. Those positions, you don't let somebody stay long like that. If you say Director of Intelligence or Director of National Security, the maximum should be 4 years if you hold that position, and then you shuffle them out. That's a good way to do. Because when you overstay, now you think like you entitled to it, and you create some locals where a lot of problems will pop up, like what we have seen, in the National Security Department. Okay, so what I'm just calling the leadership is give your employees time, because what I have seen to be a problem to the leadership of Kirmayar is not of allowing his own employees a duration where you can evaluate somebody. At least a year or two could be better picked, because we have seen this in my state, Wara. All the cadres are now former governors when they have not even stayed in the office. The moment you now try to really reinstate your policies, is that tomorrow you hear being called out that you are not anymore. You see, you are cut short of the plan that you now prioritize to do. That is what is now weakening all this institution of governing. So I am so I'm also happy in this, and I think he has made a smart move this reshuffle period by reinstating the Vice President Waniga. I think that when he removed Waniga, it has caused a very big rift in the SPLM political party. People were not happy, whether the founding members or what you call the intellectuals or those, well-informed parties within, SPLM, the commentators, those who really sometimes shape the policy of a party. All of them were not happy of the removal of Wani. Now, with the removal of Bolmel, it caused a turmoil abroad, and people were just waiting to see who to come to that position again. Now, Wani back in, I think he has sealed that problem now. Nobody will complain now. You see, that is, I can say it really has now. I don't know whether advisors have laid that foundation, or himself decided to bring that man back. I think that's a good move. Now it's up to Wani whether he's going to sleep like he used to, just be normal like that, and not actually address the issues of the economic, I don't know. One, you can't do a thing because a country engulfed with wars and the neighboring country also in turmoil, and the only resources that they rely on is also now maybe it's shut down or whatever. So it's a big problem there for a cluster vice president to do a thing actually to improve the life of the citizen, but he has to show an action plan. What do they do in their own ministry together with the executive, which is one of the executive anyway. You see, and then to alleviate or at least try to give a hope to the people, because now it is when leaders really make a tough decisions. Because if you don't make a tough decisions, then that's when people are always asked, to get out of power. Because you can't just sit in power and not decide to do anything, you see. And so I think this reshuffling and this ministry is being brought back in. I think this is the right season, I can say. They have really brought in people that we think will be able maybe to do their duties. Yeah, Mabior Garang is also is a man, is very smart dude. Only that he had never held any position for a while. Since he was yawning, I don't know what kind of position and all that, and I don't know who were behind him at the time, but he has settled the time when he, said he has now dissociated himself with the IO and just went to his farm. So I think that ministry is a huge thing, as well alluded to, especially the environmental problem in Upper Nile. And these what you call the cutting down of trees around central Equatoria here. I think this man got a lot, but for him, he can do it if he has the means to do that, especially if his ministry has some budget. I think he will work, I think he will work, okay? So, but in the meantime, Madit, you brought up about seeing faces of either children of the politician working in the government being hired, and your real question, what of us, especially those of us who have nobody in the government, and when parents are bringing their children to the government? To me, I might also emphasize with what Walmar Anyar said. That is, there is no legal ground or a criminal kind of thing that children who are educated, who are also independent, cannot work in the government in which their parents work. I don't think so. Because if they apply the same thing, if their parents were not working in the government, I think a government on the day will hire them. But if you say you have to work in the government in which no relative working in that government, I don't think it's a good call. Another thing too, given the country that is squeezed, there are no opportunities for the youth, and there are no only a public sector now. It is also problematic too for the leaders to be mindful that they should not always give opportunities to their very immediate relatives. Like we have seen, Kwalmanyang, I think, got a child working in the government. Tia Wena could have a child working in the government. I see those of Sulfur Key working in the government, and Dengarang is there, and so many others. You see, then really it caused some alarm, that what is it going here, you see. So, but to me, I think it's not a bad thing, but it is not the right way also with this scrambling, crashing economic and no opportunities for the young to be leaders always, because this is this is a sharing of equity anyway, because if your dad is working, he has some salary coming to your shore. And if you bring your children in, that means that family is well off while the others are struggling. In that situation, if you are a leader, I think he has to listen a little bit, not in a proximity in which they work. There are so many other institutions, private government agencies that you can send to be manager there and all that, but not in immediate environment in which you are operating. That can get concern, to majority of us, as Madin Majak just pointed out. So I think we cannot go to the street, but we will still swallow it that this is not a good way, to give opportunities to those immediate families. It seems like a nepotism taking place here. That's my take on that. In general.
Yeah, go ahead. Winding up. I have left with 20 minutes for the studio to close.
Yeah, let me learn it this way. Now, what can we take away from this reshuffling now, which is now very huge and seem to really balance, the atmosphere of anger, especially the reshuffling of Wani before and Bormel. Now Wani back, I think it has now cut down that anger, I think that's the thing I can say now is cooling down the party, the mother party a little bit now. But what will be the new role now of Vice Wani advising his president, because they may sometimes meet, because given the mood of the civil population around the country and within their immediate environment and their own political cadres. Now, should they not be worried as an SPLM leaders? Because these are now the two giants left now in the SPLM, Wani and Sulfur now. It is up to them now to see what really the role they're going to play now, either to bring the country back together, the mother party, because there are so many cadres rolling out there. I know they're not going to do anybody to bring it, but they have to show leadership this time, because the time is running out. There's no time left for both of them, even if, but it says sometimes it's better, late than never. They have to change the course. With that, I think I will give those who have now on the podium here also to chime in. But what I don't know is this, those ministries should have issues because of financial thing, because in a ministry, if there is no money to use, it will be a failure too, okay? But the only ministry that I'm doubted is of Lembo. I don't know the background of the guy. Yes, I know he's educated, but sometimes you say the misplacement of, what you call career or profession, sometimes it's a very bad thing. Yeah, he might have not, have a background of how to deal with those kind of things, but anyhow, we will see. But as one more I said before, Gerchuang allow you to say, I'm just stuck with one bridge with no roads. I don't know how people just call a bridge when they have not constructed a road that need a bridge, because you have to build a road in order to call in, this need a bridge to cross here, because it's a valley or, or what you call it, something that water pass is a waterway, so we need something here, to pass over it when you are constructing road. So it has been 20 years now, we don't see a road in South Sudan, and that's very unfortunate, but I don't know. What will the new government do? With that, I yield back, Brother Madit.
All right, thank you, Brother Cole. Absolutely, your analysis is well put it, and you nail it. You nailed some of the good points in it. Let me go. We left with 15 minutes for the studio to end, and then we will continue discussion in the clubhouse. Let me give this chance to Dr. Newell. Welcome, Moinbor. Dr. Newell?
Yeah, Madit, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, and greeting Dual, Moinbor, Akol, which are mod with Midakai. Thank you, Madit, and South Sudan Eagle Media for this great topic that is allowing us to reflect on a challenge that sits at the very heart of our nation's struggle today. The culture of recycling leaders, which I think is a habit that has become not just a governing routine, but the main tool through which power is maintained, defended, and reproduced in South Sudan. It's a pattern our country has lived under for years, but its consequences have grown more damaging as we attempt to build institutions, restore trust, and create a stable future. And there's nothing I will say here that Dual, Akol, and who spoke, Ninja, who spoke earlier, and Madid himself have not related already. But it does no harm for us to drill this into our discourse, public discourse, highlighting what is happening and why this persists. And I really appreciate the topic precisely because it is aimed at analysis, the ways in which this practice, whether it helps, whether it can bring actual change, tangible changes in South Sudan. That is should always be the objective or the point of every analysis, is to what extent this analysis leads to us imagining possibilities for change. My submission, which will be brief, less than 10 minutes, will talk towards that end, but I think I will not do some balanced analysis because I really think that recycling leaders is a bad thing for South Sudan. Because recycling leaders is not a sign of stability. If anything, I think it is stagnation masquerading as continuity. And I also think it's one of the greatest obstacles to state building in South Sudan. Because when the same small group of political and military elite is moved from one position to another, it creates a political culture where loyalty outranks competence, where allegiance becomes more important, and by allegiance, I mean allegiance to the president, not the nation, becomes more important than expertise, and where public office is treated as a reward than as a responsibility. And this way of governing, it does really damage the state from the inside out. Because ministries become sort of like personal territories rather than national institutions. Policies do not survive long enough to succeed or to be implemented or even to fail. New leaders spend their first months undoing what their predecessors started and their last month preparing for the next reshuffle. So the system becomes reactive. It improvises instead of planning. And no government or people can build a feasible or sustainable state on improvisation. We need a strategic planning. But I think the deeper tragedy of recycling leaders is generational. When the same leaders are recycled again and again, young people, engineers, economists, people with health professionals, people we actually need, people like the one here, see no path upward. They learn that competence doesn't matter, only connections. And many people actually will start to leave public sector. People will leave the country, as many of us have done. So we basically lose the space of developing leaders so that we have continuity long term. We deprive our country of actually institutional growth. Also, at least in this context, right now, as we see in South Sudan, recycling leaders also, I think, ensures that certain mentalities, whether war mentalities or Bush mentalities, whatever you want to call it, continue to dominate peacetime governance. Many of those who rotated through senior positions were shaped in a context of command and conflict, not transparency or accountability.
Mm-hmm.
Those instincts may have helped us during the struggle, but they undermine the needs of South Sudan because we are trying to build stable institutions. So as a general rule right now in South Sudan, secrecy has replaced accountability. Directives replace dialogue. Crisis management replaces long-term planning. And because recycled leaders often return carrying old networks of corruption or unresolved misconduct, rotation becomes a substitute for accountability. So, for example, instead of removing someone for wrongdoing, we're never told why people are removed. They're just moved. People are fired, hired, and fired, and no reason is given. And that's what it creates instead of reform, so that the new leader, can do better from the predecessor. We get a simple rearrangement. And this ultimately breeds public cynicism. And our sisters, our citizens right now, we're so exhausted. And the exhaustion is so deep that even if change, we don't even think change is possible anymore because of this recycling without accountability. And so people in general, I think, have lost faith in institutions. And when they lose faith in institutions, they begin to look outside institutions. They begin to doubt the government's intentions, even when some ministers might be making actually genuine efforts. And so that's a big problem long term. And ultimately, it weakens the peace process, it fractures communities, and it deepens mistrust between citizens of themselves, but also between citizens and the state. So again, I'll repeat this. Recycling leaders is bad. But recycling leaders is not a small flaw in leadership. I really think it's a structural barrier to peace, development, and political evolution. Because what it does, it keeps the presidency, well, I should say the president, as the only stable institution, while everything else beneath it remains provisional and fragile. It doesn't develop. Some key ministries are not developing precisely because of the recycling. And I really think we should think about this again, but I want to also conclude, as I said, I'll be short. But let me shift just from, this diagnosis into more hopeful conclusion. Mm-hmm. And how perhaps we could really change this, even though, as I said earlier, our people are so cynical, have checked out, that they don't think they have the power as citizens to change anything. But one lives in hope. By way of conclusion, I want to say this. If recycling leaders is a deliberate political strategy, and I think it is, then ending this cycle must be a deliberate political choice. It requires courage, not only from leaders, but from all of us as citizens. It means opening the spaces for new voices. I don't know how we do that because even our independent spaces are already toxic with tribalism and mistrust. But we must do that. It means, empowering people that make sense. So those of us on social media, if some leader emerges and they are making sense, there's a way we can support them, at least by giving them a space to speak and perhaps kind of groom each other in case this leadership or this generation of recycled leaders one day will go, and they will go. At the very least, we will have built some sort of trust among each other so that we're preparing to lead through accountability. Because the structure of recycling is not building any stable governance institution for us. And above all, we have to accept the truth that our nation cannot renew itself without renewing its leadership class. A country cannot move into the future while its politics remain stuck in the past. And we know that our people have sacrificed too much to inherit a future defined by recycled failures. We deserve a government that learns, a system that grows, and leaders who change, not because of reshuffles, but because they are replaced by those with better ideas and deeper commitment to serving our people. And I really think that South Sudan stands at a crossroad between repetition and renewal, between the politics of survival, which sustains recycling, and the politics of building, between a state that recycles and a state that reforms. And I think ultimately, the choice belongs to the people of South Sudan, because I don't see in this orbit or closed circus of recycling failure, of recycling without reform, of recycling without accountability, that will ever leave it. It's a vicious circle that has now become the system of governance. And so we have to find a way to get out of it. Thank you, Madit. I will stop there.
Thank you, Dr. Newell. Absolutely, you're right. You well put it. Like, yeah, we'll hear to you well. Yeah, like when the recycling leaders fail to deliver recycling, political elite will not bring any technical result. The same individual repeat the same governance style, and also to the appointment are driven by political loyalty. There is no pressure for accountability or performing. Citizens remain including from decision making. Corruption continue and check. The recycle leaders to politics will not serve the people. So here are the demand too, I will see, because these are the quote that some of the main bullet point that I put. So the key issue that South Sudan citizen is increasingly demand what we hear every day, people speak, performing over politicians should be performing. And also politicians should deliver services over the speeches that they are giving, because they always give the beautiful speeches, oh, this and this and that, nothing. And also inclusive reform reminded the leadership so that the real question is not who appointed, but will the recycle leaders adopt a new approach, emerge, reform, and be held accountable? If the system remains the same, and the result will remain the same. So, one more, Anya.
Yes, thank you, Comrade. Thank you, Dr. Newell, and welcome.
Yeah, can I throw in a question here for anyone to answer?
Go ahead.
Yeah, my question is, given that the formation of the government at the time said to be a transition government of national unity, but we have seen the unraveling and how the leadership of SPLM had done by removing all the governors used to be states of IO. Are we not going to say now SPLM has now taken over the country and it has to not, to have to be blamed and has to bring the leadership rather than saying we are just struggling with oppositions? Is it not now the country in the hand of SPLM as we speak, since they have assumed all the state by putting their sons, their comrades, or what do you think? Are we still in the era of national government of national unity, or is SPLM in charge now? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I'll try my best, and I hope the other panelists will also give you an answer on that. But let me go back into the topic itself and the recycle leaders, and what are tangible results that we expect to see. To even see that there may be results, let us pick some few ministries here and the challenges faced by those ministries. And are those challenges that can be addressed or not? When you look at the position of the IGP, I have said a while ago that the man appointed into Shawulom is a career police officer. So he does have qualifications to really succeed in that regard. If given adequate resources, he can do it. And plus, our police service seems to have been institutionalized already. So he's not going to have a foundational challenges in that institution. He can make it if given enough resources to transform our police force. Now, when you look at SPLM, Comrade called Paul Codit, he does have the skills and capabilities to deliver, but he's going to have a lot of challenges. You know, SPLM as a ruling party is also the divided party here. And truly speaking, the root cause of the conflict in our country is deeply within the SPLM. And SPLM had been neglected for years and ages. Imagine being made a Secretary General of a political military party, and a party that is almost 43 years old and had so far held only 2 conventions. One convention, April 12, 1994 in Shukudum, when we were still in a wartime. And the other convention, extraordinary convention, in 2008. Those are the only so far 2 conventions which have been done in the SPLM. As a matter of fact, this ruling party here is ruling our country and have not held a convention when we had become a republic. Because in 2008, we still have not gained our independence. And for that reason, if you go into the document and text of the SPLM now, you can still find some of the words written as if we are a part of Sudan. I had expected from the leadership of the party that once we had gained our independence, that the convention had to be done, and the documents and the text of the party has to be reviewed, edited, and published again to reflect a ruling party in a country called Republic of Sudan, South Sudan, not a ruling party in Sudan. But the text and the document of the SPLM now, they read as if we are still a part of Sudan. That is a challenge Comrade Paul will face. And then the demoralization within the party, because there had been truly a serious negligence of the members of the SPLM. Members of the party had been seriously neglected. Being a member of the ruling party called SPLM now, I don't know what it really means, because it seems like the opinions of the members with regard to the party matters are never explored. The top leaders make decisions on behalf of the party, and members don't vote. Members are not consulted. So there is a serious demoralization within the SPLM. And that is going to take a lot of work from Comrade called Paul Cordit to do the job. Bad thing is, I'm even afraid. I'm afraid that Comrade called Paul Cordit, he will be weeded out. Conspiracies will be built against him in order to kick him out. Sooner or later, we're going to run into writings in social media here where we're going to hear some fake fabrications that, what you call them, Akol Paul is in contact with Niall Williams. He will be accused of being in contact with Malonga One, just to kind of create a reason to accuse him and have him removed. That's really very bad politics in our country, and these are the reasons why we don't have political stability in our country. Conspiracies get generated, and the appointing authorities seem to buy into those, and people are dismissed or reshuffled at minimum as a result of those kind of stuff. So that is my worry, and the reason why I'm worried about that is Akol Paul is a tough guy. He's a tough guy. Once he makes a decision, he makes it. He's a bulldog. You know, he's brave. He has courage to say no. And that's going to collide him with some folks within the party, folks especially who are stiff and want no semblance of reform within the party. They're going to like the guy because of that. Unless President Kiir stand behind him, that is the only way he can actually do his job without fear. Akol Paul Corrid within the SPLM is going to face a lot to be done in the SPLM. There's a lot of work that needs to be done to restore the public hope within the party. And that's going to require a lot of meetings and a lot of seminars, a lot of rallies to be done again to revive the old glory of the SPLM. Not going to be easy for Akol Paul Corrid, even though he's so much capable. Now, let's look at who really have an easy job out of these new ministers here. I think the person that will have the easy job is Peter Lambos. At least he's appointed into the ministry that have some resources. In our country, I think we have like almost 35 to 37 main roads connecting almost 44 what we would call major towns, the Musa of Danake Jinubin. If you look into Greater Equatoria, for example, there are almost 9 major towns there in Greater Equatoria. Then, those 9 major towns, to connect them, you're going to need roads, right? So it would take 2 roads to connect a town. The road going, the road coming. So you simply just multiply that by 2. That would give you 18 roads required in the Greater Equatoria region, right? And in Barkazal, we have what we would call major town, the Mustafa Danake Jinubin Bardu, almost 11 towns. So you multiply that by 2, that gives you 22. And in Upper Nile, there are almost what we would call major towns. There are, in my judgment, there are 8 of them. You multiply that by 2, that would still give you 16. So you add the whole thing up. How many roads do you need in our country? You need almost about 40-something roads in our country. And we, South Sudanese, we're not expecting all these smooth highways, such as what we have here in the Western world, Texas-style kind of roads. No, that's not what our expectations are. At least the roads that we can drive on. And the maintenance of those roads doesn't require that much. It rains, create holes. What do you need to do? Give Galaba or Gradle. Drop in the Marham again and smooth it. We can still drive in that dust. It can still serve the purpose. We can still do that. Is the ministry given to Lambos here? Does it have resources to do so? Yes, it does. For example, if he were to, at minimum, dedicate a cradle and one truck, okay, one hydraulic truck, galaba, between a town and a town. For example, let's say between Juba and Yerul. You put in a cradle there. It's dedicated to just the maintenance of that road. Galaba, why? It rains, you drive around. In every hole, drop a morham in it and let the cradle compact it. They can still render that road useful. The Mustawajin of Sudan. I know I'm not even dreaming big about Dalat and all of this is smooth road. No, I'm not dreaming of the tarmac and the smooth road. I'm just talking about a road that can serve the people of South Sudan. You can put one galaba there and one cradle. And so if you look at the tally of the number of roads that we need in our country now, like I said a while ago, maybe 44 roads. So 44, because one galaba and one grader can serve the roads going and coming. You can serve both roads. So then you can just simply divide 44 by 2. And that gives you will need what? 22 galaba, 22 grader. And you can keep these roads functional, even if they are not tarmac. You can still serve the public that way. Is that a hard job? Is that hard for Peter Lambos to do? Is it hard? Is it hard to pick the marham and put it in a galaba and let the galaba drive on the road wherever you see the sinkhole or wherever the hole you see there, you dump it in there, compact it, let the people of South Sudan drive it. Is that hard? Can South Sudan afford to buy all of this galaba? Yes, South Sudan can do. Because if South Sudan can afford the tanks, South Sudan can afford those. They can be done. Is it hard? I don't think so. that, in my opinion, that is an easy job. And then come to Comrade Atanyuwek. Atanyuwek's job is also going to be easy because the Ministry of Information, especially the part of that ministry that is really effective now, is truly the Ministry of the Information part of here. Okay? Well,
so he will do a two job though. Minister of Information also is spokesperson of the government.
I couldn't hear you clearly. Your voice was
no, I'm saying that he will do a two position, Minister of Information, and also he's a spokesperson of the government.
Right, and a spokesperson of the government, and telecommunication and postal services, right?
Yeah, right, yep.
You see, one of the things I really wish Comrade Atanyuwek can make a history in this regard. Do we have postal services in South Sudan? Do we have zip codes? No, we don't.
No.
We don't. If Atanyuwek can get into this now and really develop the postal services, it would go down in our history that during the leadership of Atanyuwek, South Sudan began to develop postal services. And all he can do, he can bring in maybe some expertise from India. India is the country that is really good in postal service, all over the world. The Indians are really good in that. And there seems to be a very good relation between South Sudan and India. And so that postal service part of that ministry has never been utilized. It's just being kept as being a name, the part of the name of that ministry. Like what kind of postal services have we enjoyed as people of South Sudan? What kind of postal service have we had?
It's also a way to employ people, Dual.
It's also another way of creating jobs. And it's also another way of making money, Comrade Atanyuwek. I hope you're hearing my voice. Postal services employ people, it generates money, it generates revenue. Christmas is coming. I have relatives in Juba that I want to mail something to, but we don't have a working postal service in Juba. How can I mail a Christmas gift to my relatives in Juba? But if we have a working postal service there, I could utilize that.
Well,
yes.
I don't think the postal service will be good with us at this moment. They will be mailing bomb.
Why would it be bad? Would be better or would be difficult? What is bad about you buying a computer here in the Western world and you want to mail it to your relatives, one of your relatives in Awarial? What is bad about it? And of course, for you to buy a computer in Michigan and mail it to somebody in Awarial, it's not going to be done for free. You're definitely going to pay money, and thus that money is a revenue to be generated. And somebody processing it and handling your packages all the way to Awarial got a job. What is bad about it? And it's a service, right? It would be a service to you. It would be a service to your relative who might be a recipient of whatever you're mailing to them in Awarial. What is bad about it? What is bad about it? How does it hurt you or me? I don't think that there is anything bad about it. There is something so good about it. It would be a creation of jobs, and it would be a real public service. It will be a real service because once your packages are delivered to a citizen in Juba, that citizen is served. It's a part of this ministry that is giving to Comrade Tanyawem. Will he do it? I don't know if he will do it. I doubt that part. But it is a good thing. And it would create more jobs. As a matter of fact, having that ministry being given to Michael Makunlu all these years, and he failed to activate the real postal services, in my opinion, that was a betrayal of the people of South Sudan. Because that department within that ministry would have served our people and would have created more jobs. And we, the citizens, were the one who were going to fund it anyway, because it was not going to need money from the government, because government wouldn't pay me to have something mailed to my people in Juba. I'm the one who would pay. But somebody let us down on that. I hope Atanyuwe can hear my voice and think about this here. And I know he's a journalist, but he doesn't necessarily have to be the one doing it. He can even hire expertise from foreign countries such as India to establish the real postal service. ما يكون حاجة تجميل الوزارة. It looked like when I see the ministry being called a ministry of postal service, telecommunication and information. It looked like the postal service there is just being added there to make the ministry sound sexy or sounds beautiful. That really not good. And I scratch my head, Comrade Michael McCullough, that Department of Postal Services there can be Amul Gurush, it would have generated money. Why you didn't activate it? Why you didn't do it? And also too, a telecommunication as a part of this ministry generates money. So this ministry here is a ministry that have enough money to even fund the other department. Yes, nas MTN, unas Mono, nas Vivocell, unas Monodel, get our Gurush. That means the Ministry of Information there, Indo Gurush. It had enough money to also activate the postal services. Maluma Amalo, because you cannot come and tell me the excuses of Okuma Madana Mezania, Madak Mezania, when you do collect Lani Junubina say every MD with that internet target. Our people are paying taxes on that in Juba. And those money are going to work. They're going to that ministry, right? Yeah, is a ministry they tell of the Mezania, Azin Mezania Kire, in order to activate the postal services there. I said Yakdim Junubin. Timunubiaba. Who will refuse? Atanyuwak will have some challenges in it, but he will have resources to overcome all of this. There is no reason for him to fail in this ministry. Only person that I really know that will have a hard time is my homeboy, Mabiora Garam. Because Ministry of Environment, maybe it will only just get its resources from the fees, service fees, okay? Maybe the companies that are doing mining, okay? The companies that are exploring oil. So the Ministry of Environment is pretty much regulatory. Okay, it's not going to really generate that much of money. It's going to be ministry that's going to regulate the companies that do have impact on our environment. That is the ministry that may not have enough resources to do that much, and it's going to be part of a challenge because also that ministry is also going to need some kind of environment in order for him to really be effective. Even though he does have responsibility to regulate so many companies, including our country. Because the water refineries are responsible for the crystal water bottles that are polluting Juba and everywhere. You also have to regulate that.
And flooding
All of
too.
those.
And what about the flooding?
And also flood
Very,
water.
very big
It's
issues.
going to fall under. It's going to fall under the water. Okay. You also going to have something to say. His ministry is going to have something to say in also Ministry of Transportation too, because there are some of the cars that don't have catalytic converters in our country, and remember here in the Western world, every time you go and register your vehicle, every time you have to go and do registration renewal, you have to be your vehicle have to be tested to see the amount of carbon dioxide it releases. And it's not being even done in Nairobi or in Kampala. That's why when you go into Kampala or in Nairobi or one of those heavily traffic roads, see the Nazal Garden Juba, they don't know this. Like those of us who come from the clean air and you go to Juba, the air smells kind of like a sweet. It's sticky sweet. If you go to Nairobi, the air smell is sticky sweet. That is from these gases that are being released by these motors. And the same thing in Kampala and in Uganda. Like if you stay there over a period of time, like some of them who are in Nairobi now or in Kampala, if they're actually listening to me, they're going to be like, what is this guy talking about? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. When I leave from the Western world and I go to Nairobi, the air smell is sticky sweet because of the amount of the CO2 that is being released in the air. That is the pollution that is happening there, and you don't know it. You people don't know it. You will only know it once you leave from there, be in a different air, and then go back. That is when you will smell it. It's happening in our country. Ministry of Garang is responsible for that. And all of these motorcycles that are brought in are also contributing immensely into the air pollution in our country. Taban, to even explain this, is that going to be an easy thing? To convince people in the motorcycle El Bore is polluting our air if it is not tested. It's supposed to be tested every now and then so we can know the amount of the CO2 it releases into the air. Is that going to be an easy thing? It's not going to be. It's going to be hard. So Comrade Garang is really definitely going to have a hard time with regards to that. To conclude with the question that you asked us, Brother Akol, okay, can you remind me, Akol, if you can hear me? Akol? Akol?
I think Akol is, yeah.
Earlier, I was far away from my phone,
Yes.
I to get something to eat here. Yeah, thanks.
Me of your question.
Listen.
Go ahead. Remind me, what was your question?
Oh, my question was, I said, since we have seen the way the party called SLM leadership have changed, the protocol, the national government of national unity, or what you call SUDAN.
Oh, yes. About the Artigano and the governors. Okay, yes. Yes, first of all, this has been the real challenges here when it comes to the RRCs and the Constitution of the Republic of South Sudan. We had a constitution that gives president powers to remove the governors. We had it before the RRCs. Okay? And then we had the RRCs that came in with the power sharing, which gives the leadership of certain states to SPLM IO.
Okay, Ajama. So those of you who are watching Facebook and Club and YouTube, thank you. I'm about to close down the studio, so you guys can join us in Clubhouse, so we can continue the discussion. So thank you guys for coming in, and we'll see you next time. Join us in Clubhouse. The discussion will continue. Thank you guys. Have a good night. Bye now.